Alrighty then. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Welcome everyone to another fantastic episode of Our Parents' Basement. Thank you so much for joining us once again on your Thursday evening. Man, I gotta tell you, this week has been flying by. We're already at Thursday, and you know what that means. Time for another fun-filled episode of OPB with the Basement Dwellers. I am so excited to be here for an extra special episode tonight. So, yeah, let's get into it. I am Philip, and I'll be doing some of the talking this evening. And with me are, first off, the two regular Basement Dwellers. The first is Charles. Charles, how's it going this evening?
Doing all right. How you been doing?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. You're looking a lot happier these days now that you're not taking calculus in the evenings.
Yeah, I did drop that calculus class like a crazy ex-girlfriend, as I say.
I prefer the term drop it like a bad habit because dropping like a crazy ex-girlfriend sounds sexist, but that's just me.
Or a crazy ex.
Crazy ex. There you go. I like that. Well, glad to have you. And we also have my homeboy, Jason, but I call him Turf. And Turf, how's it going this evening for you?
Man, I'm doing well. I am happy to be here. I'm happy for another chance to hang out with y'all and talk about all this good nerdy goodness. Good goodness? Is that? Anyways.
Good nerdy goodness.
Tonight on Our Parents' Basement.
That's all right. That's all right. We knew what you meant. Well, we have some extra special guests with us this evening. We have, first of all, we'll just sound them off. First of all, we have, and say your name after, or I'm sorry, say hello after I say your name. First of all, we have Billy. Billy, how's it going this evening?
Hello, hello.
How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Doing real good.
All right, good. Made a few words. That's okay. Strong silent type.
Yeah.
And we also have Jesse. And Jesse, how's it going for you this evening?
Same as what Billy said.
Yeah.
Hey, no news is good news. I'm glad to hear it. And last but certainly not least, we have the lovely Michelle. And Michelle, how are you doing, gorgeous?
Stupendous.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Well, Billy, Jesse, and Michelle, thank you for joining us. They are members of the beautiful, wonderful, amazing company called Reinforcement Productions. They are the makers of a super fun and super addictive little game I got a chance to play back in Louisville in early March called Gravity Gerbil, and they're going to talk to us about it this evening. So first of all, welcome everyone to the basement. Thank you all for joining us, and let's just get started. Reinforcement Productions. How did you come up with that name in the first place?
Billy?
It all started. Well, actually, I'll give you the short version. A lot of the Reinforcement name came from a username that I used to have on Xbox Live, which was Enforcer 100.
Enforcer 100.
And
okay.
I don't quite remember how I came up with that username, but from that we built the name Reinforcement Productions.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be Reinforcement Production Games, which if you abbreviate it is RPG.
Ah.
Ooh, my, now you're
Fancy.
speaking my language. That's my
Why did
favorite
it used to
genre.
be? Why is it not anymore? Because that's catchy.
Because we kind of decided that we might not be exclusive to games. That we might branch into other.
There was a lot of talk about doing YouTube Let's Plays or streams. There was a lot of talk about doing other things outside of games. But so far, this game is our one thing that we have.
Well, this one thing. I mean, I think you've got like 4.5 stars on Google Play, the Google Play Store. So
Yes.
people are buying it and people are enjoying it. I mean, we're not just blowing smoke when we say that this is a fun game. People are like, the public is enjoying this.
Yeah, every single person except one that I've handed this game to says that they've had a blast with it. The one person that didn't is my brother. His first time ever playing it was at the Arcade Expo. He kind of
Nothing like support from the family.
Oh, he's been very vocal about his hatred of it during the making of it.
Hatred.
He played it for about a minute at the expo, and he's like, "This game blows."
Thanks, bro.
Well, I'm glad he's not your spokesman.
To be fair,
Yeah.
he did follow up with, but I don't like physics-based games.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you guys said that from the start. I mean, you know, this isn't my time.
Yeah, some things are for some people and some things aren't. I mean, but
Yeah, but
just
don't like
like
downright hate it. I mean,
the average
Yeah.
person just picking up in this play is very approachable. Why don't y'all just tell us a little bit about the game? I mean, most people that listen to this probably haven't heard of it. I mean, they may have, but tell us a little bit about Gravity
give us a
Gerbil.
skinny of Gravity Gerbil.
All right. So you are a gerbil in a plastic ball who has been blessed by a scientist with the power to control gravity. And,
Naturally.
And you do that by tilting your phone. The tech savvy would know that it takes accelerometer input, which is that's the term for the thingy that when you turn your phone on the side, it goes from portrait to landscape.
What's that called again? For
Accelerometer.
oh, that's okay. I could deal with that term. That's not too bad.
The accelerometer is also how the phone. If you've ever have a fitness app and it's counting your steps, that's also what that is.
Yes.
Like a pedometer type of thing.
The accelerometer can also be a pedometer.
Yes.
The accelerometer, it's gauging that your phone's moving. It's the same kind of technology that's in like a Wii remote.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yes.
Essentially, well, okay, go ahead, Billy.
I was going to say, and all it really is a set of gyroscopes that are set at different axes together.
Yes.
To the layman, the gerbil always moves down, hence the name Gravity Gerbil. You just move the phone to control which way is down, and you navigate through mazes, electricity traps, go through warp holes, things like that.
Yeah. If you're standing up while playing it, the gerbil will always fall towards your feet.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, he's tumbling around in there the whole time. We already had the, Unity, which is the game engine that we used to make it. Unity was also made to use Cuphead, and a lot of Kickstarter games use Unity.
Let me say we cannot praise Unity enough for how ease of use.
Yeah. I mean,
Now-
it
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Continue. Please continue. Yeah.
Yeah, Unity it's kind of turned into the go-to engine for indie games, but for very good reason. It's very powerful, very intuitive. Like Billy said, cannot praise it enough. I friggin' love Unity.
It sounds like Unity loves you, because Gravity Gerbil, from what little I played of it, because you know you're at the expo, we got so many games to play.
Oh yeah.
I played it for a good 2-3 minutes. It was so enjoyable. I really had fun. It's like it's such a simple concept, but it's just it was so addictive, and I wanted to play more. And yeah, like, where did this idea in the first place come from? Like, did you guys were having cocktails or coffee and said, "Hey, you know what'd be cool? A gravity-defying gerbil." Like, how this happen?
Well,
Okay.
go ahead. Unless you want me to tell it.
We wanted to make something, obviously, and we had the free version of Unity, and Michelle suggested making a mobile game. I kind of started making this like big tactical RPG thing, but Michelle said, you know, maybe for the first project should be a little simpler than that, and eventually I relented and said, fine, we can.
Yeah, the game he started making was Skyrim, and I said
be
you
right
should
back.
start with Angry Birds.
Basically.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. So yeah, she suggested going on making something mobile, and I'm not a mobile guy by any means. I don't have any other games on my phone. The only other mobile game I ever played was Snake.
Yeah. All right, my brother.
I like Snake.
But I looked at the tutorials on Unity's website, and that's part of what makes Unity easy to use is the really, really good tutorial videos on the website. There was a set of mobile specific, and I clicked on this one that said accelerometer input, and when I watched the video for that, I just started thinking, I think I could make an entire game based around this kind of input. Like I can just have a ball falling through a maze, and thought it needs a face as well. It's like stick a hamster in there.
It's worth pointing out that when he told me that he discovered the accelerometer thing, that I was the one that said something about a gravity ball. And then upon me saying gravity ball, he said it sounded a little dirty for some reason.
Gravity.
So,
I don't see it.
I didn't see it either at the time, but I do like where we landed on gravity gerbil.
Initially, you came up with a hamster in a ball. I suggested the gerbil so that the title would be alliterative, GG, gravity gerbil. And also, I thought that the little waggy tail would help it to make it iconic.
Hamsters not have a tail?
Nope.
Huh.
Hamsters, they have kind of a stubby tail, but gerbils have a longer tail.
I did not know that.
You see this?
Yes.
Zoology on OPB. I love it. I love it. All right. That's a... Sometimes the best ideas is, shaped from the most fun things. I love it.
Did y'all have a background in coding or background in game design, or just thought it might be fun to give it a shot?
I tooled around with making mods when I was in high school, and I discovered that I really enjoyed programming, so I went to school for it. Job market has not been kind to me, so so I made this as kind of a resume builder or shot in the dark.
Let's try for the rags to riches.
Exactly.
So did you guys grow up interested in computers and programming and gaming, or was this kind of like a more of a semi-recent interest?
I would say I grew up very interested in it because a
before
lot of my
I'll say before we went live, you're talking about how you're a Sega Genesis man. When did you get into games?
I personally got into games when I was really little, like around 5 or 6, and then I grew up around that kind of media. And it wasn't until I saw the credits for a 64 game I had played at the time that I realized that this is actually a thing that people do for a living.
Which game was it? I'm curious.
Huh?
Which game was it that kind of sparked that interest?
The problem is I don't really remember because there were a lot of 64 games that I played, but the one game that really sticks out in my mind is still Super Mario 64.
Classic.
Billy, I was so sure you were going to say either Ocarina of Time or Banjo-Kazooie.
I mean, those are equally a part of my life. That is true, but I could easily pick any one from that period of time and just say that one.
Okay.
The first game that I ever saw the credits to was Super Mario World on the SNES.
Yes.
You always remember your first, don't you?
See, that was my first also.
We grew up.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Me and my brother grew up out in the country, so we didn't. We played outside more of our childhood up until I was 12 and he was 10. The marvelous year 1998 was when we were first introduced to gaming when we got the N64. So we were a little bit late to the game, but we caught right up.
Hey, better late than never. And Nintendo 64, that's a good one to start with. Myself, and I think Charles started with Nintendo, but maybe Atari for you, Charles. I can't remember.
Yeah, first game system I played at this is like back in elementary school, right? 1985.
Charles is older than us, by the way.
Atari 2600. remember playing Pitfall. That was my first, video game I remember playing was Pitfall on the Atari.
Good, very good.
I started with the NES as well.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's a
good
great one to
place
start with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So didn't you start with the NES too?
No, I was an Atari 2600
That's
kid.
right.
I had baseball and football and things like and Stampede.
Yeah, when you have the NES, get good.
Oh yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
In Atari 20, you have different colored squares that you were most of the time.
Yeah, that
You
little
can
bit of
play
imagination
Custer's
to go along
Revenge.
with it.
Yeah. Yars Revenge was awesome.
No, Custer's Revenge.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about Custer's Revenge.
Stop.
Genocide and rape are not really.
Not
We
not that
have
one.
an anti-rape stance on our parents' basement.
Yeah.
We have an official platform.
No means no.
No.
Hashtag me too and anything else I can't think of.
Nobody says no on roofies.
Yes. So when you guys are playing these first systems, and in Michelle's case, Nintendo 64, did you ever stop and think, "Wow, I think I'm gonna be a game developer someday," or were you not thinking that at the time?
Back then, I always my parents said that I was on a computer before I could walk, like back in 1993 or 4, and
So young.
I was fascinated with who makes these, how is that done, but it kind of seemed like the realm of super mathematicians. But when I picked up PC modding in high school, it kind of dawned on me. It's like, this is not nearly as hard as people make it out to be. I could do this.
So,
Yeah.
okay, obviously, when you get into modding, you're a fan of the game. Which game was your jam that you made you want to mod?
I made a couple of things for Evil Genius.
Oh, I actually remember that game. That game was
That is.
fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big PC guy. Never, because I just didn't ever have a PC that was powerful enough to play games. I fell off on kind of like Sim Ant. But
I've played SimAnt.
it was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it, but I fell off pretty early, and I never did have a PC that was always up to date. But man, Evil Genius was one of those that I was probably in college, I guess maybe I was right out of college when it came out, and I had a laptop enough that I could do some damage with it or play some games. I don't know, I did, but that was a fun one, man. You get to set traps and stuff and try to catch the James Bonds of the world. It's
Yeah.
great.
Would you say that Evil Genius inspired the Mad Doctor in Gravity Gerbil at all?
A little, kind of.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, the
I always got a Dr. Weird from Aqua Teen Hunger Force vibe off of him.
okay. Here's a little bit of trivia that would be pretty much impossible to know unless I told you. There are a couple of Evil Genius references in Gravity Gerbil. Like in Evil Genius, you remember the training room where you advance your minions. There was a mouse maze that you could build.
Baby.
Okay.
Turf's like, it's been years.
Like 20 years.
Okay, well, you could build a mouse maze to improve the attention of minions that are training. One of the levels in Gravity Gerbil is modeled after that one incidental piece of furniture from this 2004 game.
Yep.
Oh,
That's pretty
Wow.
awesome.
Is the exact same as what's
Yes,
in?
the exact layout.
Oh, nice.
Huh.
look at you.
Easter
Awesome.
eggs. See, there y'all go.
I love
There's
Easter eggs.
stuff like this on our parents' basement.
There's, if you highlighted anything on Evil Genius, there would be a little pop-up text box. And in the game files, I found the value for the text box text, and there were a couple things where it said, "You should not be seeing this. Go away." And
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
there were a couple of notifications that we were required to put in for the Apple version. Like this is why this app uses the camera. Our game does not use the camera in any capacity, but we still needed to include a disclaimer on that. So I just wrote out, Gravity Gerbil does not use your camera. You should not be seeing this. Go away.
That's cute. I like that.
I never did wrap my brain around why the game doesn't use the camera, but we have to have a notification that says it used the camera.
Apple is strange. That's all I can officially say.
Well, there's so many people I would say that try to get their things on the App Store, so they probably have broad rules that everybody has to follow, and you just have to include silly stuff. Just
You
because
may very well be right.
right.
just to cover everybody's bases.
Yeah, it's business.
Yeah.
It made us do a disclaimer for the location function, which it also doesn't use. There's several other function disclaimers that it does not ask us to use because those features are not in the game, but it asks us to do the ones for camera and location.
Okay.
Let it be known that on the Android version, they don't ask these things.
Right.
Well, the Android store is kind of the Wild West too.
Live,
It
way,
kind of is,
way
yeah.
before we got the iPhone version live.
Yeah, that's a very long story. Although, since you were talking about the Doctor being inspired by Evil Genius, I wanted to talk about the Doctor a little bit.
Sure.
So I know a guy from college named Boris. And
I like his name.
yes, that his first name is Boris.
And his wife's name Natasha.
He
I was
is
waiting for that joke.
Damn.
Cannot confirm.
This guy looks a lot like Boris from GoldenEye, and I would say that he is based on Boris from GoldenEye. This real life person is based on a fictional character.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. So
Shout out to Boris.
So he did a couple of the levels in the game. He designed them. He also came up with the wormholes and the bounce pads. And I just kind of decided, you know, it might be fun to learn how to code those into the game. But I wanted the scientist to be modeled after him, and I even gave him the little exploding pen in his pocket. And so I asked Boris to send me a picture of himself so I could send to the artist. And he sent me a very representative picture of himself chugging this bottle of whiskey. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is a picture of Boris. I sent it to the artist, and then the artist comes back to me with a picture of the scientist chugging. I was like, okay, screw it. This is in the game. This is in the game now. I didn't expect you to take it that literally, but all right.
Now let it be known that the Doctor in the game is chugging root beer.
Root beer.
Of course he is. It has to be root beer so you can get that general audience rating.
Yeah.
For everyone.
We still got rated 18 plus in Australia.
How?
What?
I have no idea.
Because Gerbil's going into holes. That's why.
That was. Oh, okay. Now it's not rated M in Australia anymore. I got that taken out after we clarified it was root beer.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, it was
I
because
remember now.
they thought it had alcoholic content. They made it rated M.
Yeah, but once I cleared it up, it's like, oh, okay.
Australia's worried about alcohol. It's
I know.
Come on.
Founded by
Automatic
criminals.
M rating. Automatic.
Yeah. And the ESRB has us at like 9 plus here in the States.
How do they gauge that? How do they decide you're 9 plus? I mean, is it because the hamster's in a balloon and doesn't have balloons tied to his butt, or what?
Something about cartoon violence, and I don't remember the other thing.
Yeah.
Cartoon violence, I kind of
Cartoon violence? Come on.
When submitting a game to the store, there's like they had this form that you fill out about the content, and I made sure that I had checked that this game does not endorse terrorism or instruct the player on how to commit crimes, but I answered kind of strictly just to be on the safe side of, oh, you didn't report this, we're permabanning you or something.
Right. We have to do the same thing with a podcast because we're listed so many places, like iTunes, where you can download it. You have to be very careful about if you can drop F-bombs in your podcast if you want to, but you have to make sure you got it ticked off that you're going to be for mature audiences.
Yeah.
So
I understand that.
Now there's there's another thing that you reminded me of a few minutes ago. That I was holding on to this. I just heard Billy go, "Oh boy." Yeah, that's kind of one of his things.
What? Okay. What? Tell us. Tell us.
Go on.
You've seen Clerks, right?
Right.
Yeah, a long
Years
time
ago.
ago.
That story.
Yeah, he's basically Dante. But
Yeah, if you saw Jesse and Billy interact in everyday life, they are Randall and Dante from Clark's.
And they're not even supposed to be at work today.
yeah, exactly.
Not even. Nope.
The music in the game, the track that's inside the human stomach, I have named the file name for that Cousin Walter.
Oh.
And yeah, we
Okay.
were just talking about Clerks and Mallrats, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I would have thought you might have gone Lemmy-Winks with that one, but just
Good
Cousin
Lord.
Walter, Mallrats.
Jeez.
Oh, and the music was made by this dude who he's Indie Timber on YouTube. If you've ever seen Meet the Amazing Tracer or anything like that on YouTube, he wrote the music for that as well.
Indie what?
Timber.
Indie Timber. All right. Well, shout out to him as well. It was loud in the expo, so I didn't really get a chance to really hear the music. But I'm gonna, when I play it next, I'll make sure the sound's way up because I think good music really helps keep a game's momentum going. You
You can also hear the music in the trailer we have on YouTube in a pinch.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
How many
yeah,
tracks are on there?
Indie. There is. Depends on how you look at it.
There's one track, but we took a Gruntilda's theme approach from Banjo-Kazooie and just remixed it in several different ways.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's the same. The bass track is called Polka Waltz.
Okay.
And
That wasn't even written for Gravity Gerbil, but Jesse approached his friend Indie Timber, asked, "Hey, can you make some music for my game?" He said, "I can't, I'm busy right now, but here, check this track out I did a while back," and it just happened to be absolutely perfect for the game.
Fit right in, and it
yeah. And I want to point out that this dude is a phenomenal musician. I knew him in our dorms back in college. One time I brought my Judas Priest Painkiller CD to his room.
Metal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I
we are metalheads.
I put on Painkiller on his stereo. He happened to have his guitar on his lap, and he's just like, do 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 do. Hang on. He just played it by ear. Freaking Painkiller.
He pulled an Amadeus and just started playing it by ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. So
Nice.
cool to see someone just shredding, by memory.
I hate
That's so
people with
neat.
talent.
Just
I
by
hate 'em.
ear.
Yeah. He's got some really cool stuff on his YouTube channel. There was Goomba Village from Paper Mario on there.
I was in the other room. I was over in the kitchen, and I heard Goomba Village way over at Jesse's computer. So I asked, "Are you playing Paper Mario?" And he wasn't. It was just his friend playing it. It was that genuine that I thought it was the actual game.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. He makes his own instruments. And
Jeez.
That's
Nice.
next level.
yeah. Like I said, he is good.
Wow.
And he looks a lot like Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords, if you've ever watched that.
I can't say I
You
have.
need to. Flight of the Conchords is great.
Is that the one with what's her name?
No.
No.
She's the voice of that chick in Bob's Burgers.
Yes. Actually, yes, that is the one.
What's her
Oh.
name?
I can't remember her name. But yeah,
Shaw.
she's,
Kristen Shaw?
is that right? I don't know. She's the crazed fan.
Yeah.
Or like a
I know the character's name is Mel, and
Yeah.
I thought she was the best part of the show.
she's
She has, like,
married, but she's always
Halloween.
throwing herself at the Concords, if you will.
Anyway, she's a funny chick.
I say yeah.
But no, I'm
yeah.
not sure who that character is. Who you guys are referring to?
Jermaine's the one with the big chops.
Glasses.
I'll have to look him up. So are you all from Louisville, or did you guys migrate there?
Bowling Green. Me and Michelle have moved to Louisville.
Great.
I'm from Franklin and have always been in Franklin, and am still in Franklin. But because he's still a short drive away, we make it work.
Yeah.
How far is Franklin from
Uh,
Louisville?
2.5
About it.
hours.
Oh wow.
About there, yeah.
Gee.
Heck of a
Now, how'd you guys meet then?
Well, when they were still in Bowling Green. Actually, no, this goes way back to when
Billy
We
and
were
my
in
brother were in
college.
scouts together, so we knew each other
Aw.
growing
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah.
then I was dating Jesse in college, and was it you were working at Kroger with Billy?
We actually,
that was
me and Billy met each other in college, but
Yeah.
it was when we were working at Kroger together that we started doing this and getting serious about it.
It was one of
Cool.
those "it's a small world after all" where you had connected separately from somebody I knew from way back.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how many times that's happened.
But one day we decided we don't want to be at Kroger anymore. So
Kroger's
that- yeah. So
Everybody likes to go Kroger.
specific
Come
one
on.
that we worked at. I've heard that there are some Krogers that are fantastic places to work.
yeah.
Well, I didn't know what Kroger was until I moved to the South. Actually, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and we didn't have Kroger.
Oh.
Oh, no.
So
They
Oh.
just bought a big grocery store change up here in Chicago. They bought Mariano's up here.
Kroger did. Damn,
Yeah.
they're spreading like
And
wildfire.
Mariano's, they're interesting. They've got like some of the exotic meats. You get gator there and stuff like that, and ostrich meat
You can't
there.
get those everywhere.
You can't get gator
we can
everywhere.
Get squirrel in our Walmart here.
Yeah,
serious?
No, I'm making that up. I really am. We can't buy squirrel.
I was about to say the Walmart here doesn't have squirrel, and I figure if there was a Walmart that would,
You know,
it would be this one.
So
I'm in Arkansas, man.
break
We
it
have
off
squirrel
Kroger.
and rabbit, venison,
Yeah.
Gator. Just kidding.
gator, and coon.
Whoa, what's the language?
You can't buy raccoon. You can only buy coon. I don't know. People can't spell.
So Louisville, Kentucky. We love visiting there, and I sometimes visit there other times just to get out of Nashville for a bit and enjoy the city. Do you guys consider it to be like an up and coming hub for technology for developers like you, or is it still trying to find itself? How do you feel about your profession in that city?
Well, we actually moved up here because we felt that there was a lot more opportunity than there was in Bowling Green. There's more of a gamer scene. You've got Warp Zone that you go to every other Sunday.
Yeah, Game Dev Lou. They've been pretty helpful in getting the game up on the Apple version, and it was through them that I got my spot at the Arcade Expo.
So you've got Louisville has like a scene, I guess, for developers. Then it's not.
Oh yeah, there's
you had folks give you a
Code.
hand up, try to get you started. That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a couple of organizations. There's Game Dev Lou, Code Louisville, a couple others. There's an event called Codapalooza that's coming up.
Codapalooza.
You said Game Dev Lou. I thought you were just talking about some dude. I didn't put two and two together. It was
Yeah,
Louisville.
Lou and I go way back. Yeah.
Developers in Louisville.
Like he was down there on the corner, like, hey, you gotta go see Game Dev Lou. He'll help you get on iTunes.
I got a trench coat full of games.
okay.
What was it called? Custom Palooza? Coding
Coding
Palooza?
Palooza.
That is funny. I love that name. That's great.
And because it's in Louisville, Codapalooza, LOU is capitalized.
Absolutely.
Ah.
Not any other way.
Real quick, how do you guys say that? How do you guys say your city? Because there's so many different ways. So,
Louisville.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
S is silent.
I've heard it as Louisville before, but
That's also valid.
yeah.
Just
I
say
hear-
it fast and nobody will
Just
notice.
I hear Louisville.
Louisville.
That's
Louisville or Louisville. Either way.
I say
is
Louisville.
fine.
It's like this summer here.
Louisville.
yeah, there's a U in there. Louisville. UL at the end.
Louisville, if you're French.
This is just riveting audio, I'm sure.
Well, I was curious. These guys, this is their home. So, I'm sure they have tourists come in and be like, yeah, we're here in Louisville, some old couple from Michigan
That
saying
requires
stuff.
to interact with human beings outside of our house.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm
We are
saying-
talking to people that are coding games, so
This-
Yeah, that's about it.
well, let me ask you this then. Did you guys enjoy the expo? Or were you guys working the whole time?
We kind of did it in shifts, I guess you could say. It's like, okay, I want to play some games. You stay here.
Yeah.
Billy,
But,
Billy came up from Franklin. Some of our other friends came up as well. So we did just kind of do it in shifts.
Cool. Very cool.
Yep.
We definitely got
Gravity
to see-
Dribble is your ish. It is everything. Are you guys working on anything else?
Yes.
Do
yes.
tell. Do tell. Sneak
All
peek.
right. Our
I don't really want to make a whole lot of promises yet because it's still really early. But should we go ahead and say the name?
yes.
You want to just discuss some concepts that you have coming up?
I want to hear everything.
Okay.
Oh, dish, honey, dish.
Dish like an all-you-can-eat buffet, Golden Corral style, girl.
Well,
Okay.
well
All right.
the tentative name is habeas corpus.
Yeah.
What was it called? I missed it. Sorry. What?
Habeas corpus.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Sorry.
Cool.
It's a legal term. Do you know what a public defender is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. In this game, you're a public defender, and you have to defend criminals in court. One of the guys at Game Dev Flu said, "So it's Phoenix wrong." Yeah,
Not necessarily, but
yeah.
the idea is you're going to have a lot of cases and not a whole lot of time for prep. And we're just going to chuck a lot of things at you, and whatever happens, whatever happens.
Yeah.
I'm not a game dev guy. I'm just an idea guy that likes to ramble. So you're here saying this, I'm thinking, okay, you got to, quick draw. You got to do these trials or these public defend these
Arbitrations.
people.
I don't know.
Yeah, really quickly. So are we talking like WarioWare quickly, like 3 to 5 seconds? Are we talking like, they
Probably. Did you ever play Papers, Please?
I have not,
Mm-mm.
but I know the concept. You have to look for discrepancies on the
Yeah.
passport or whatever
Basically,
papers.
The timing of Papers, Please is definitely going to be an inspiration.
yes.
Okay.
Papers, Please was kind of a part of that game was to show the emotional toll that kind of job can take, because you have all these people coming to your gate with sob stories, like somebody is like on the run from the government, but their passport is expired, and they're just like, come on, just make one exception for me. So sometimes you'll have to balance your conscience versus not getting yelled at by your boss.
Or not getting paid.
Yeah, because
If you fail enough in Papers, Please, they'll start docking you pay.
and your pay is very important, because at the end of each workday, you do have a family in this communist country that you have to pay rent, heat, and food, and sometimes medicine.
Yeah.
So yeah, making an exception for somebody who's desperate might cost you a family member who
Yeah.
freezes to death because it's not Russia.
Or if
Okay.
if you take too long, they might dock you pay. Or if you don't do something correctly, they might dock you pay. So
And it's all timed. You have to do it quickly. And there's a couple of terrorist attacks where there'll be like, well, we need to tighten the borders, so let's require more forms. So there's more forms that you have to check up, which means it'll take longer, and there's more ways you can screw up that you can overlook.
This is definitely a government job. I
Okay.
can
Yeah.
get along with that.
So papers.
Let's talk
go ahead.
let's talk about habeas corpus and not Papers, Please, because I'm not going to play that. Just to be honest with you, I might play habeas corpus. So y'all, you got to sell it to me, man. Come on. We're talking-
I'm imagining that habeas corpus would essentially be Papers, Please meets Phoenix Wright.
Okay.
Okay, a little bit of Danganronpa, a little bit of quick drawing. Okay.
I'm still working on the overview, so I don't even have like a set play style, if that's what you want to call it, written down. But
it's still super early.
Oh, we're not even in the. We're still brainstorming. We're not even in the development
Basically,
stage.
So, for this, like this, you're a public defender. Are you guys actually doing like legal research for the whole
yes.
thing?
Good question.
And I've been talking to a guy whose name I can't say on the air, but he used to be a public defender, and he had a very, very interesting case that he told me about.
Remember, don't give it away too fast.
Right. Yeah, I know the pacing of telling the story, and so he had to represent this guy who had been charged with doing terrible, gross things to his 9-year-old son.
Sweet baby Jesus, it got dark.
And
Let
this
me tell
guy,
you that the game is probably going to be dark.
Okay.
oh yeah. Now this guy, you would expect to see his face in the dictionary next to pedo. I mean, he just every stereotype he looked like it. The case was very heavily weighed against him. The penalty for this particular crime would be 20 years to life in prison. And he was offered a plea deal where if he pled guilty, that he could just serve 5 years in prison. So our lawyer friend was saying, you really need to take the plea deal, and he's saying, no, I will not go to court and say that I did these things to my son. He was on his knees begging the man to take the plea deal, and he refused, even though it was stacked horribly against him.
Yeah.
So they go to court, and the son is giving his testimony, and and I'm paraphrasing here, Daddy did these awful things to me in our trailer. And it's like, hold on a second. My client has never lived in a trailer before. It turned out that the boy, the parents were divorced. The boy is mentally disabled and called his mom's live-in boyfriend Daddy.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see where this is going. Okay.
Yeah, so it was very much good that this guy did not take the guilty plea, because stuff
And for
like
a crime he didn't commit.
yeah, I don't know if they eventually got. I don't think it would be that hard to narrow it down after that, because how many live-in boyfriends could mom have had? Please don't answer that.
I don't know her.
Well, but in the end, an innocent man was saved from prison. Where
Yes.
That is
So this
really
isn't going to be a
fascinating.
lighthearted thing. Y'all are thinking very serious, very
Yeah.
We've actually got two different visions for that. I think you and Billy both are favoring the darker view of the law. I'm pushing for at least a DLC, or at least an alternate version where it's like the superhero. You are a public defender who defends superheroes.
I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and it would be a lot fluffier. I think a breath of fresh air after the depths that the main game gets to. You'd be defending him for like flying without a license, stuff like that.
collateral damage from the last supervillain battle.
once you have the game done, or once you have the I guess maybe not engine, but when you have the premise, you have all the architecture laid out for it. Would it not be easy to just pretty much reskin it and
Very easy.
two games very similar, but the tone be very, very serious, very dark on this one, but have virtually the same game that's light, fluffy,
Expansion pack.
a little, well, not even completely separate. That they don't even just from
Like
the
a
makers of
mission pack seat.
habeas corpus. We've got superhero Steve Lawyer, and I don't know. That's just me spitballing.
That is an idea that I didn't think to explore before. We'll think about it.
So
I need royalties on that one.
Go ahead.
5 cents.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto 4 episodes from Liberty City. Those can be played independently of GTA 4.
Absolutely.
As you're
We
saying.
also have played with the idea of a Florida Man edition.
Florida
man.
No?
Are you-
Okay.
Are you familiar with the various news stories of Florida man did something crazy. Or
Just go on
Florida
Google
man-
and type in Florida man. It'll just be a quagmire full of headlines of crazy things that a man, a crazy man living in Florida has done. And
Is
it's
that the
just
guy with the zombie people like eat people's faces? Was he from Florida?
yes.
Well, Florida's
Yeah.
just filled with crazy people. So you type in Florida man, there's no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
Florida
That's
is
the point.
It's
Weird.
culminated where it's a joke that's not a bunch of different men living in Florida. It's Florida man. It's one man.
Gotcha.
One that I know off the top of my head was Florida man was asleep in the mall and tried to burn it down, the entire building, after people kept waking him up.
Well, I mean,
So yeah. Yeah,
need
one
beauty
more
sleep.
funnier version we could have is be the public defender who defends Florida man.
I just did a Google search of Florida man.
Oh
Would you
Lord.
imagine?
It's like a Florida man is accused of hitting multiple mailboxes while driving drunk, telling troopers he deserves to be arrested. And his mugshot, I'm sure this is of us.
He looks like a Florida man, doesn't he?
His mugshot. If you look at his picture from a mugshot. I don't know if you guys seen that.
Oh, wow. That is Colin James Daniel. You are famous, sir.
You got the link.
Wow. This is such a
See it? Yep.
such a departure from Gravity Gerbil, though. Like, are you guys trying? Did you guys want to do something more serious because Gravity Gerbil is so lighthearted?
The best way I can put it is that Gravity Gerbil is our pop project. It's the most accessible. I hate saying commercial, but it was the thing to get our names out there.
Yeah.
It was a toe dipper.
Yeah, our toe dipper. And I mean, we have many ideas for things that we want to explore.
There are a lot of ideas that are radical departures from previous games.
Yes.
That's a whole nother ball game unto itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I mean, so what are some of your guys' like what other inspirations from games you've played are you gonna try to utilize in future projects?
One that I remember Jesse and I talking about not too long ago was an asymmetrical 4v2 or 4v1. Do you remember when Lionhead Studios announced, I think it was called Fable Legends?
Yeah, Fable Legends.
Yeah.
And then Lionhead ceased to exist because Microsoft. I wanted to do something like that sometime way off in the distant future.
The idea behind it is that it's a versus multiplayer game where there's 4 hero characters and 1 villain player. So the 4 hero players are doing a traditional dungeon crawl, and the 1 villain player is sending out the hordes of mooks and giving them commands.
Yeah.
So they're basically playing a strategy game to the other player's hack and slash adventure.
I kind of like that. Of course, with Friday the 13th that came out, you get a chance to be the bad guy. That's kind of awesome. You got I don't know if y'all played Friday the 13th. You get to
I've
4 or
seen
5
enough
of
to
your
know what you're
counselors.
talking about.
I've heard enough about it.
And you're trying to stop Jason or you're trying to escape Jason, and one player is Jason and he's trying to murder everybody.
Yeah.
So I like that idea that you've got in the same game you can be either the villain or the hero. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I've played a couple of Halo 2 homebrew variants that were kind of like that, where one player has the energy sword and everyone else is forbidden from shooting. And yeah, there was a lot of really creative stuff done with Halo 2.
Okay. I'm trying to think what other genres are. So any plans for an action game or maybe something a little more open-ended? Of course, RPGs are my jam. So
Our very first project was going to be a relatively open-ended RPG.
nice.
But of course, it's very complex to make one of those. So
This
You
is
ain't
the
lying.
quote unquote Skyrim I was talking about.
yeah.
Before I started Gravity Gerbil, I was tooling around with this, and I had actually made a functioning threat system, and part of the idea behind the threat system was I wanted NPCs to have like randomly generated personality traits. So some of them would generate threat differently. Like somebody might have the Mage Hunter trait where he generates threat higher when he sees anybody casting spells or something like that. Or maybe this one is a Saboteur who tries to knock out as many of the red shirt workers as possible.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. You guys have so many cool creative ideas. I really hope we get to see more from you guys, because
I hope
There's
so
no
too.
telling.
We gotta sell more copies of Gravity Gerbil though.
Yeah. The biggest trouble with making games is that in order to make the game, we have to actually sit down and make the game. So we can have a flood of ideas, but at the end of the day, we need the money, we need this, we need that in order to make it happen.
Our artist did a absolutely stellar job on Gravity Gerbil. Just V Creative is her Facebook and her Twitter, so give her a look. But we don't have a terrible amount of budget left to start on Habeas Corpus with any actual art. So I had the idea to just like use hand puppets, like from South Park, where Cartman was using Jennifer Lopez.
Oh yes, CCC.
Yeah, just as like a stand-in.
Googly eyes.
Yeah, little googly eyes. Just have those be like the client characters, and they're blah 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 about they got a speeding ticket. Can't you please help me? And that would just be the stand-in until we were able to hire or contract some actual artwork. Unless, I'm just posting that on social media and it just gets so popular that we leave it that way, but you never know.
Definitely a unique idea.
Yeah.
Has that been like the biggest challenges in this business? Is it money?
That's
Marketing?
Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen that people will come if we build it, but we have to let them know that it's here.
Being able to
we've had a
do
really
it and
hard
being able to
time.
sell it are two entirely different ball games.
Yeah. I put a lot of work into making the game fun to play. Like when I had programmed the movement, I handed it off to several people at a game dev Lou and said, play this, tell me just how it feels to move around. And I got a lot of feedback from them. There's some factors that kind of seem ridiculous in hindsight, like how the gerbil ball wasn't always in the center of the screen, and just there were a few niggling things about movement that just did not feel right. So I really pounded into just movement until it felt good to move. Kind of like a parkouring in Assassin's Creed. It just feels good to do.
Well, the results show Gravity Gerbil was super enjoyable. I myself, Charles, and Turf, we all wish you all success, because Gravity Gerbil is so creative and you guys are so creative, so you deserve all the success in the world as far as we're concerned.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
That said, we are unfortunately out of time. We are about to hit the hour mark. Before we wrap up, I want to thank Billy and Jesse and Michelle for joining us once again. We loved having you guys on. It's always fun to have guests, especially ones who kind of are in the know when it comes to actually making games. The three of us are huge gamers, so you sharing this knowledge with us has been really fascinating. So thanks for taking time to hop on here with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for hosting us.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
Anytime.
Well, y'all go ahead and plug everywhere they can find you. People can find you on social media.
Okay. I've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just look up Reinforcement Productions. You should be able to find us. Somebody here had the decency to put our links in the comments, correct?
In the show notes, you bet.
All right, wonderful. So yeah.
Decency.
And gravitygerbilgame.com.
GravityGerbilGame.com. All right.
All those G's. I'm loving it.
GravityGerbilGame.com. It'll have links to the App Store or the Play Store.
Awesome.
And the trailer,
And
which I made.
What the price point for this is it's $1.99, right?
Yes.
Let me tell you what, folks, that's value. That is, you will get $1.99 worth of fun. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Yes.
It's worth pointing out that I said this a billion times at the Arcade Expo, but I'll say it here for you fine people. That $1.99 is all you will pay for this game. There's no microtransactions, no energy system, and all new levels are just all new content is free for anyone who has bought the game.
Awesome.
We have the philosophy that once you buy the game, you own the game.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. The three of us are old school gamers, you know, so that is a good philosophy to have. So we appreciate that. Well, Turf, I'm going to hand the floor over to you, and I'm going to let you tell us where we can listen to this show again and anything else. Take it away,
folks. Well, this is episode 94 of Our Parents' Basement. If you like this, and there's plenty more of it, there's 93 other episodes, and those are roughly an hour apiece. So you're looking at a lot of time. You could listen to these three chuckleheads, and hey, sometimes there's even some guests. So be sure to check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Tuned In, Spotify, and just about anywhere else you can download a podcast. Now the video is right over there to the left-hand side. No, excuse me, the right-hand side of your screen.
Your other left.
My left hand to your right. Yeah, it's over on the right-hand screen of YouTube, so you can download the video or you can watch the videos on there. But okay, yeah, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. But be sure to check these guys out. That is Reinforcement Productions. Be sure to check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check and hit the like button, subscribe. See, that way you can follow. You can see when there's updates to the old Gravity Gerbil. Give these guys $1.99 and have a good time with Gravity Gerbil. All right. So appreciate you all watching. Appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. And I'm going to let everybody say good night because I'm about to hit the button.
Good
night.
Peace
Thanks for
out.
watching.